When I was in junior high school, my deskmate was a girl who loved to brag. She said her family had a large flat with a special piano practice room. Her mother loved her very much and listened to her advice on choosing a car and preparing for a trip. She had never washed her own underwear until she was 13 years old. When she was a child, she had to get up at 5 o'clock to peel corn husks for breakfast. But she cut her hair herself. She couldn't afford sanitary napkins because she lived in the dormitory. She only had breakfast and lunch, and her pants were almost down to her knees. She was so poor that she had no protection. Everybody hates her. I was listening to a song one time, and she was bragging again. I was so annoyed that I asked her, "Oh, so you are like this now? Is your mother dead?" She hit me so hard that my nose bled. "My mom is the best mom in the world. You are not allowed to say that about her. I am like this now because my mom didn't see it. If my mom saw it, it would be fine." I covered my nose and jumped onto the table. Okay. Now ask your best mother to pay for my medical expenses. Come on. I've disliked her for a long time. Apart from good grades and a nice face, he has nothing compared to me. But she has good grades, so the teacher protects her. I was afraid that my dad would scold me, so I had to hold my nose and apologize. Never spoke to her again. As a result, when I was in high school, my father paid 100,000 yuan for my tuition, and she was admitted to the same school as me. One class. On the first day of school, my dad still remembered her and greeted her with a smile, saying that we help each other, especially she, who has good grades, helps me a lot. She agreed immediately. I am older. I am the older sister, and I should do what an older sister should do. I hope we can still be desk mates. She talked to us with a smile and started bragging that her mother was very happy. She did so well in the exam, so she was given a bag as a reward, and she started bragging again. I saw the torn plastic bag in her hand and wanted to ask her, "The bag you want to give her is that plastic bag?" But when I saw her face, I held back. After a summer vacation, she developed a new patch of red and white rashes from her right cheek to her neck. The scar looks like a scald from boiling water. Now, she has lost one of her strengths. Only good grades are left. When I improve my grades, I'll see whether my dad still praises her or me. I didn't expect that we would actually become desk mates. I was so annoyed. But she told everyone that I was a very nice person and that we were classmates in junior high school. At first, everyone listened. I don't want to ruin my good image, so when others ask me, I just nod my chin. She's still bragging. Below, her mother loves her. He bragged about it in class and in his essays, and his writing was so sincere and heartfelt that even the Chinese teacher cried when he read it. She said it again and again, and the classmates were stunned. I laughed at what I heard. Every night at 9 o'clock, when his cell phone runs out of battery, he would lend it to me to make a call, but I refuse. She borrowed the back seat from a few guys who were usually not so polite to her. Girl's phone number, call her mother. When I come back, I will be very careful to delete the phone number. I can't help it, my mother. Mail. There were only a lot of busy beeps. The class beauty burst out laughing at that moment. She opened her mouth wide. Tears were about to flow out. But as soon as she opened her mouth, I felt the blood rushing up my head, and I slammed the table. You have to like me too. Don't you look at yourself? I regretted it the minute I said it. I originally wanted to talk about character, but Betty suddenly shut her mouth and looked up at me. I didn't dare look into her eyes, and I couldn't bring myself to apologize. I could only push away the boys who were making a fuss in anger and walked out. She stopped talking to me. That's not all. She also wants to change seats. When the evening self-study class was about to end, she asked everyone one by one who was willing to change seats with her. No one paid any attention to her. Many girls don't like her because she is sloppy, unclean, and a liar. The boys were all cheering. They started to make a scene and said they dared not touch the dumplings from Donga's house. After asking around, no one agreed. She could only stand back beside me. It was time for the second self-study class. When the bell rang, she had to take the initiative to ask me to move my chair a little if she wanted to go in. She looked down at me, her dog-bitten bangs drooping, silently. I haven't gone to the toilet for the entire class. Can I move? We are married, and I am thinking about it. I have spent a lot of money on my sister, including living expenses, accommodation fees, and tuition fees. After calculating these accounts, it is still 200,000 yuan after deducting the decimals. So, that's why her spending is strictly controlled. She said her mother used to bring rice to school to cook rice. There is not so much living expenses. Her sister's classmate in the countryside only had $10 a week when he was in high school. So, I will study hard, and I must be the first. My mother will be proud of me, and she will be very happy. Her big black eyes were almost hitting the fat man's face, and the only words in her eyes were really and affirmation. The fat guy was busy copying her homework. Oh. I suddenly felt something strange that I couldn't explain. I hummed, okay, so what? She stopped talking. She kept saying, my mother would be proud of me. T felt secretly happy when I saw this. Mountain. But she didn't eat, and she really looked thinner and thinner. She gulped down at least 3 bottles of water during evening study. I am a moral person. I will not kill Boren, but he will starve to death because of me. That is not okay. I gave the fat guy $500 and told him to ask Betty to give him extra lessons and provide her with meals. The fat man's mouth was getting bigger and bigger. I raised my fist and said, I can't stand people like you who only know how to copy homework for free. How can you be the successor of socialism? Just say you agree, right? The fat man shrank his head and chose to agree. She gives lectures to Fatty every day at noon and during evening study. It's strange, I couldn't understand what the teacher said, but when she explained, the fat kid didn't understand, but I did. It seems that we have similar IQs. They dragged her from the 3rd floor to the 1st floor and beat her. So many steps, going down one level after another. She scolded Betty for being shameless. They were both daughters of the Bay family, but why was her sister so well-behaved while she was so mean? If no one had told her, she would not have known that a person could be so mean. Holding hands and kissing others just for 20 yuan for a bun. The useless fat guy stood beside him, blushing and stammering. She said we didn't kiss her, we just gave her a meal. Her mother cursed and said that she was a starving ghost reincarnated. She finally couldn't bear it anymore and said, Mom, I'm hungry. Her mother said, did I miss your money? Every month I give your sister. I'll bring you living expenses. You're still not satisfied? How much more do you want? They argued, and finally she cried and said, okay, then give me Dad's money. I don't want the share you left for my sister, I want Dad's money. So you were waiting here? You ungrateful bastard. Her mother was so angry that she was shaking. She turned her head and looked around, then picked up a flower pot next to her and smashed it directly on her head. She said that now she couldn't share the family property unless she died. Warm blood flowed down her face. It was extremely embarrassing. So this is the mother she was talking about who loved her to the extreme? So this is the mother who secretly returned the cookies from her tutoring class to save money to buy a gift for her. The classmates pointed and talked. Betty was like a young animal with its fur peeled off. She cried and said, Mom, didn't you say that we should treat each other equally? My sister has made progress. I also got 3rd place in the exam, 3rd in the whole grade. Very good results. There are more than 200 people in our grade. Mom, look at me. Didn't you say you could get 1st place? You're such a boaster. Even after her mother left, she still refused to give up and shouted, Mom, please don't leave. I will definitely get 1st place next time. I shook off the class beauty's hand and walked over to hold an umbrella for her. She suddenly turned around and left in anger. Like a god, she grabbed my umbrella and ran to hold it for her mother who was walking away. Tomorrow, I will scold her severely. How could she do this? Was she bewitched by her mother? I didn't sleep well all night, thinking over and over again what kind of harsh words and examples would be most useful to her brain. I got up in the middle of the night and ordered medicine for her. How could I transfer schools? After she left the class group, I realized she didn't add a single friend. I remember that when she was in junior high school, everyone in her class asked us to add her as a friend, but we didn't do anything. I really regret it. I went to her neighborhood to look for her. I spent 100 yuan to rent takeout clothes and went to knock on the door. I thought of 30 excuses and pretexts and knocked on the door for a long time, only to find out that they had moved away long ago. The neighbor next door said that they had moved out a week ago and that their child had changed schools. I asked which child it was. The mother-in-law curled her lips and said, which one else could it be? The one you like. My face turned red and I quickly denied it. My mother-in-law said that Betty's mother was cursing in the neighborhood. She knew that she was in a premature relationship. As soon as she saw me sneaking around like that, she knew I was here to look for Betty. I stammered that I wasn't in a premature relationship. I was here to ask for money, because Betty owed me money. The eldest sister suddenly sighed. She said Betty grew up in her care. Only then did I know. Betty's mother had been married before she married her father. Her ex-husband was a good-looking yellow-haired man who was an alcoholic, gambler, and beater. Her mother was beaten so badly that she divorced and ran away, leaving her daughter who was only a few months old. Her sister didn't say anything at the time. The next night, it rained heavily and her sister ran away from home alone in her pajamas without taking $1 with her. Her mother was almost crazy. Betty stumbled out with an umbrella to hold it for her. Her mother pulled the umbrella away and threw it away, calling her an ungrateful person and a wolf cub. Betty was so scared that she started crying and said she was wrong. Her mother kicked her, made her kneel in the rainy night, and kept scolding her. If you can't find your sister, you'll die right here on your knees. Why? Because I'm your mother. You owe me this. You owe your sister. If you're so calculative, do you think I can count on you to take care of me in my old age? You have no conscience. Betty was crying in the rain and almost fainted. Her dog. Her sister was found in her father's hospital. I heard that when her mother found her, she was lying in her stepfather's empty hospital bed, kneeling in front. Betty's father's condition relapsed, and he was just rushed into the emergency room. Her sister cried and told her mother that she came to see her father. After she came, she had already regarded her uncle as her own father. For countless nights, she wanted a father like Betty's father. She also didn't want a father who beat people. But she didn't have one. Her mother passed away when she was less than 1 year old. Her mother hugged her sister and cried. But her father didn't make it that night. Betty waited all night for the news of her father's death, the mother-in-law said. This child, who was once held in the palm of her parents' hands for more than 10 years, was loved to the core, but she suddenly turned from a little princess into someone annoying. Sigh. Her mother said every day that she killed her father. Whenever she cried, her sister cried even harder. You don't know, her sister plays the victim every day, and her heart is more cunning than a lotus pod, and she always bullies her. Her mother forced her to admit that she killed her father every day, but how could she admit it? Her mother hated her so much. How could she care about her? Well, she kept talking and sighing. Finally, she asked me, "How much does she owe you? Let me give it to her." I went back to school. My dad was in the office and slapped me in the face when we met. "You bastard, you said I was seriously ill and went to visit a patient." I spent the whole afternoon blasting him. Sneeze. Where have you been? Did you go out to hang out? I asked my dad very sadly. Do you think there is really such a person in the world who is so biased as to? Are you a parent who wants to make your own child your enemy? My father covered my head again and said, "What the hell? You can't even talk about your ancestors for 19 generations. What on earth did you go do?" I said I was going to ask for money. My dad got a little nervous and asked me if someone had bullied me. My eyes began to turn to my head teacher, who asked me if I had received the money. I said no, but I would get it. Let him be alone. People are so fucking mean. When Little Beak was around, I didn't like anything about her, and I didn't like that fat guy either. I get irritated when I see them talking in front of me, and it affects my studies. When I heard my brother making fun of me and Xiao Beak, blood rushed to my head. I wanted to cut off all ties with her. Let's put up a big character poster to tell the world that we are of the same nationality. I even deliberately talked about my ideal type of girls when she came in, and each one was completely opposite to her. Long hair, small eyes, big mouth, pointy face. My brother frowned and asked me if I was a pervert because I liked long-haired bullheads. Stem. The little shell had no expression, as if it didn't hear anything. But I clearly saw her sitting down uncomfortably and pulling at her short hair. But after she was gone, I suddenly started to like round things, short hair, and small mouths. Even that little fat guy, I find his oh pleasing to the ear. I asked him to give me lessons, specifically the lessons that Little Beak had taught him. Every step must be included, and the modal particles must be correct. After so many times, the little fat boy started to avoid me with an embarrassed look on his face. Brother I actually like women. Go away. Wait, come back. After finishing this question, were you paying attention? You forgot to say, let's look here. My brain may have been infected by the little shells. On my way home on the weekend, I saw a stray border collie. I thought the dog chewing the grass looked like Little Shell chewing her bangs. I called out, "Little Shell." The scrawny dog immediately came running over, sniffed me, and wagged its tail wildly. I was crazy. I always hated dogs, but I actually liked it so much that I took it home. Auntie looked at me in surprise. Whose? Mine. I introduced her to my aunt. My name is Little Shell. The class beauty sat next to me and spoke less and less. In the second month, she suddenly told the teacher that she wanted to change seats, and before leaving she gave me an address. It's class 3, she told me. The name I got was that of a high school in a rather remote town. Just one look at the address, and I suddenly realized that. This is a really filial son. Ha ha ha, hot comments. That's all. Ginger duck. Then there was a big times. The back 2 pages of the book were glued together or something. I tore it open carefully, and the words inside were a little blurry. It looked like it had been stained many times. It was opened, torn off, and the carefully copied words inside were stuck again and torn off again. I am not salty plus tolerant. You are still so confused and don't like to clean up. My grinning mouth hadn't even closed yet when I saw someone marking my lower body with a red pen. I had no idea why I had come here at night. Why am I here? More reviews. Why are you buying a basket of buns? It was around 6 in the morning, and some people were already outside buying breakfast. I parked the car shiveringly and bought a bowl of hot porridge. After I recovered from the drink, I went to the shop next door and bought a basket of dumplings. There was a security guard at the school gate, so I found a girl to help me carry my school bag, and then I successfully got into the school. The school is very new. Occasionally, 2 people smoking and rubbing their eyes on the road are. I took the train to the city overnight. It was 3 o'clock in the morning when I got out of the station. The motorcycle driver looked at my 1.85-meter height and red eyes and refused to take me to the town below. I scanned a bike at the station. Lu Xing Qi. If you really like the bag, buy it. My baby deserves everything. For the first time, Betty lowered her head. The next day, Betty went to the bathroom to ask for directions and met the gangster's boyfriend. After saying a few words, he was dragged to the teaching building and severely beaten. He was beaten and kicked, and the scar on his neck was specifically grabbed and stretched. The female gangster said without hesitation, "I'm going to punish you. That's my eldest sister. She told me that you are a slut, and she specially changed your position in school. You seduced boys, and now you seduce me." The female gangster is now Betty's desk mate and roommate. I asked for the female gangster's phone number and called her. Her first words were, "What are you doing?" "I have a boyfriend." I asked her when she would come to the classroom. I had something for her, and she, "Boyfriend, let's take a look together." She chuckled and said, "What are you doing? Do you really want to compete with him? I'm not someone who changes my mind so easily." Ginger Duck is so ugly and her face is ruined. She can't even go out naked. No one wants. When she saw me, her eyes lit up slightly. "You're the one looking for me?" I stood up. She glanced at the logo on my jacket and my shoes. Her face. Shang already smiled. "Who is it? I don't think I have seen you before. I came here specifically to treat you to breakfast." The female gangster glanced proudly at the 2 girls next to her, curled her lips, and walked towards me. "I really haven't seen you before. Who are you? Is it the last time Sister Yin came over for dinner?" Then he closed his eyes. I reached out and pinched her chin. Her face turned red. It came just in time. The school bully asked me to give him money. Without 3,000 to 5,000, the matter cannot be settled. After getting the money, I punched him to the ground and fed him to his girlfriend. Spit it out. He wanted to hit me, so I just broke his arm. The beatings I received from my father over the years were not in vain. The weak male thug soon called a third one. Before she even entered the door, I pressed her to the ground and rubbed her. "Grow up quickly. You have me here, and they are still so rude, you. Just think about how they would scold me if I didn't do anything before. These people bullied men and women and robbed them of money. They stole 3,000. That's enough to sentence me. You gave it to me yourself? It's a frame-up. Those hooligans insisted on making me drop out of school, saying that my campus. In the 1980s, they said I relied on my strength to bully others." The female gangster burst into tears and refused to reconcile. "The school is as muddy as ever. There's no way I could write an apology letter. There will be no surveillance, no evidence, and no witnesses." So, in front of everyone, I took out the female gangster's phone number that I picked up and called Betty's sister Maria directly. The phone rang for a long time before someone answered it. It's like pouring cold water. There's no creativity at all. "Didn't I tell you to go find my bastard dad? He's the best at dealing with people. It would be best if he takes this little bitch back and lets her live the life I lead, so that her trip won't be in vain. I want these thugs to kneel down and apologize to Betty. I turned to look at the principal, who looked a little unhappy. This is not difficult, the principal said, as long as the matter does not get out to the outside world. A scoundrel like me who bullies the weak and fears the strong has no credibility. Betty decided she couldn't stay in this place any longer. I washed the blood from my face with cold water and called my dad. My dad was furious. I heard the wind whirring and the car windows. Turn it off, and the voice on the phone gets louder. Where are you? I'm going to ask for money. You want money? You told the class teacher that I was seriously ill? You unfilial bastard. God bless you. My family is really sinful. Your mother has such good grades and a good brain. How could she give birth to a useless, evil creature like you? Dad, I want to study hard. I plan to get 20th place in the final exam. Dad, can you help me? With your poor grades and a score of 20, you can hardly get into a junior college. Wait, what did you say? There is a brief silence. My dad said, 10th grade. My dad asked, what help? Murder and arson. In grade 10, your dad's attitude was completely different. He even took out his own white shirt for me to change. Betty wants to transfer to another school, so we will definitely cooperate. Actually, her enrollment has not been transferred. She is just here temporarily. The principal paused and said, the key point is, Betty may not be willing. She was sent here by her mother herself. When she came, she said she would study hard for the full 3 years. I entered the teaching building from the overpass of the administrative building, and when I was going down to the 3rd floor, I suddenly ran into Betty, who had just come up the stairs. It was a sunny day. The coldness of early winter is just right. Frost has fallen in the south and crows are circling and flapping their wings. I went down to the first step. In the interweaving of light and darkness, my sight suddenly fell on a face in the sunlight. She walked slowly up the corner of the stairs. One hand is subconsciously pressing the neck to reveal a slight scar, slender and beautiful. Oil that cannot be removed. She looked at me for a few seconds, thinking for a long time. Then she seemed to come to her senses and reached into her clothes. He dug and took out some change. The lobby manager came in hurriedly, and she was still able to apologize. Manager, I'm sorry I caused you trouble. But her mother got angry and slapped her in the face. You shameless thing, you apologize to outsiders, but you are so stubborn to your family? You killed your dad, did you apologize? You made your sister cry, did you apologize? And you said your sister pissed off your dad, get out. She loudly told other relatives how Betty failed the exam, stole money from the family, and made her father angry to death. You're rotten to the core. You spent all the money in 3 days. You can't even tolerate your own sister, and you even complained about her. With such poor grades and no filial piety, how can I count on you in the future? Her sister was very good at pretending. Okay, Mom, my sister is still young. She just wants money and is throwing a tantrum. Don't make yourself angry. Her mother got even angrier. Okay, let me see how tough you are. You want money, right? If you can get it yourself, then don't ask me for money. She forgot that the last time Betty asked her for living expenses was 2 months ago. She forgot that her little daughter was less than 18 years old and was still a student. Even if she had an appetite as big as a cat, she still had to eat every day. She even forgot the expression on her eldest daughter's face that I had reminded her to pay attention to when I sent her those recordings of Maria. Partial listening leads to ignorance, and partiality leads to stupidity. The music started and the hotel's coming-of-age ceremony continued quickly according to the auspicious time. When Betty walked out of the hotel, a 5-layer birthday cake was rolled out. The plates on the dining table were covered. I thought about it, looked around, and poured 2 full cups of hot water. The door to her room was not locked. I stared blankly for a moment, then opened it and went in. Obviously she used to. She sat into the quilt. Feelings change. The wind outside rustled the branches, and I unconsciously weakened the tone of my voice when I was about to curse. The one I liked before, I don't like him now. You may dislike something now, and something you didn't like before, you may like it now. People change. What are you talking about? My ears are suddenly burning like I saw a ghost. Betty said, but some feelings will never change. Richard, don't you agree? When I heard the name, my face suddenly started to feel hot. Yes, some things may not change. She lifted the quilt, raised her head, and looked up at me with tears on her face. "Richard, why is it that things are different when it comes to me?" The circle of friends on her phone was lit up, and on it was a photo of her green tea sister with an extremely corny caption, "My most beloved daughter." And these titles originally belonged to Betty. It was her mother who said at the beginning that Betty had enjoyed a good life. Over the years, when the living expenses, accommodation fees, and tuition fees were calculated, she had hundreds of thousands more than her sister. A bowl of water must be kept level. Sending her to the countryside is to teach her to learn to be grateful, to remember the good times, and to cherish the good times. When she stops talking back to her sister and tolerates her sister, she will be allowed to go back. But do you know what Maria is like? Betty said. Her sister always looked pitiful, but everything she said and did was like scraping fingernails on glass. She was always irritated by her sister, quarreling, swearing, telling her sister to get out, and then, finally, she was slapped to the ground by her mother. Her sister put birth control pills in her food. In her book sentence Cold Condom, her mother said, when she passes the entrance exam, she will become an IT student. Betty leaned her head against the pillow, her tears soaking it. It was the first time she cried like this, shedding tears while speaking silently. She finally asked me. My mother didn't believe me. She said I was jealous and looked down on her daughter and her. I believe it, I said. After a while, Betty said, "Thank you. I'll get into college. We'll all get into a good college." I gave her the warm water and said, "Yes." Betty never came home again. She had a notebook filled with her expenses, and she recorded every single one of them. She even recorded the expenses of Little Beak. At my insistence, we each had half. I often look at the book and sometimes remind her. There is still a bottle of Coke, which I bought on the way. I only drank one sip, and you drink the rest. It's $3, don't forget it. Okay. She also stopped working part-time and instead devoted all her energy to studying. During the winter vacation of her second year in high school, at my suggestion, she underwent plastic surgery to remove the scars on her face. The gauze that had been wrapped for more than a month was removed. Her hair changes as quickly as her grades. When she was in her third year of high school, her hair grew to her waist. After keeping an eye on us for 2 months, my dad believed in my revolutionary friendship and started to get overly enthusiastic about Betty again. "You are classmates. You should help each other. Betty, as a big sister, you should scold Jiaoyang if he does something wrong and beat him if he doesn't listen. Beat him as hard as you can. He has a thick skin. The more you talk, the more outrageous it gets. Dad, she is only 20 days older than me. What's sister? That's still bigger than you. But I was born prematurely. Strictly speaking, judging from the date of pregnancy, I am the older brother, so she has to call me brother." I don't know what my dad was thinking of. He turned around and looked at my mom's photo. His face turned purple, and he said, "Shut up." On the day of the college entrance examination, we were in the same examination room. When the last subject came out, I walked out. I met 2 classmates on the way. They asked me the answer to the last question and shouted when they heard it. Since Jiaoyang said this, it must be wrong. If I had known, I shouldn't have changed it. Her son asked her to go back, saying that they were family after all, and he missed her. Betty looked at the message for a long time, especially the part saying, "I miss her." 2 red tea. This is a recipe that contains all my favorite dishes. Children who lack love always have fantasies, and a heart that has been wrapped in love always longs to return to its original state. Her mother even asked her what she wanted to eat and cooked it for her herself. She said she wanted to eat the fried meatballs she had eaten as a child. The address of the new house is in an upscale community. Her mother rented it and said it was beneficial for her sister to find a partner in the future. I was waiting for her downstairs in the community. Then she saw her sister coming back. Looking at Maria up close, her facial features were all covered in makeup, and her face was full of calculation. When she passed by me, she had no expression on her face. But my car keys happened to fall on the ground, and she reached out to help me pick them up, and a smile appeared on her face. "Are you from this neighborhood too? I haven't seen you before. I have a house, but I don't live in it. My name is Maria." "Hello." She smiled gently. After adding her on WeChat, I scrolled through her circle of friends with an expressionless face, chatting about food, travel, inspirational stories, and her intellectual self. And the latest news is, your most hated relative suddenly wants to come to your house and stay there. What should I do? She then goes on to explain them one by one. Yeah, very scheming, ruining his own reputation and framing others. Very cruel. Of course we have to be careful, but everyone knows what she is like. I continued to watch Betty's live webcam feed. This was my strong request, saying that I was afraid she would suffer a loss and wanted more people to witness it. So I used a small account with no fans to live broadcast, and I was the only one in the audience. She saw the password lock at the door, thought for a moment, entered her sister's birthday, and the door opened. It was noisy inside. The whole house was full of relatives, from her grandmother's side, from her sister's side, and her mother was busy in the kitchen. Betty stood there for a while, and her mother came out with a smile on her face. Betty was a little stunned. Her mother said her sister would be back soon, and the family would have dinner together today. The table was huge. Betty looked around and saw the third roommate, her mother and her sister. There is one room for each, and the other one is her sister's dressing room. She looked at it for a while and asked her mother where was her father's photo. Her mother said that it was a new house, and she was afraid of bad luck, so why put it there? The room was filled with noise. Betty walked to her mother's dressing table. Her expression became increasingly gloomy. After searching inside for a long time, she found a black and white photo. Then her sister came back. Everyone in the room gathered around Maria. He kept praising Maria for her beauty, her academic ability, and her ability to study abroad. When her mother saw her eldest daughter coming back, she immediately asked for Betty's help, meaning, Maria is planning to study abroad because her major is not good at university. Seeing that Betty has been quite well behaved in the past 2 years, she plans to give her a chance and ask her to accompany her sister to study and take good care of her sister. Betty calmed down immediately and said, I just finished the college entrance examination. Her mother said that she wouldn't score much anyway, so why waste money to go to a fake university? It would be better to go abroad to broaden her horizons. Another relative asked how many points I got. Betty said she was a student who was blocked from the college entrance examination. They laughed and said that blocking means you will lose points if you're caught cheating. Then they continued to persuade Betty. Okay, it's not for nothing that you are allowed to go. If you go, your mother will buy you $1 million insurance policy. Betty asked, who is the beneficiary? Her mother said, then they must be family. Come on, sign it. I watched the number of people and fans in the live broadcast room increase rapidly. The barrage was full of noise. Fuck, this is really not a script. The netizens' breasts are also breasts. Is this the mother? What is this? These people are blind. The girl is obviously much prettier than her sister. Attached is a screenshot in front of the dressing mirror. I've learned a lot. I've really learned a lot. I know this girl. She's from my university. Didn't she always say that she's an only child, rich, beautiful, and white? This face is really enough. This little daughter came to their house to survive the calamity. Fuck. The college entrance examination blocked students to go to a foreign fake university to accompany her to study. This mother is definitely a stepmother. Send a rocket, sister, stay calm, don't be PUA. The food was served. Everyone sat in a circle in front of the floor-to-ceiling mirror in the living room. Betty looked at the dish in front of her, silent. I looked at the dishes in front of me and immediately called Betty. He closed his eyes and picked up the chopsticks. I continued to call, and she continued to hang up. She started to pick up food. A table of shrimps, fried shrimp balls, shrimp vermicelli, boiled shrimps, dry pot. Shrimp, braised prawns, shrimp with corn. Betty is allergic to shrimp. Since childhood. But her mother did so much. Because Maria liked it, and because she was afraid that Maria would think her mother favored her. Little by little, red spots and freckles began to appear on her face, spreading more and more along her cheeks. Her mother didn't say anything. She just looked at her, silently looking at her. He frowned at her. At that moment, mouthful by mouthful, all the things she had said before about her mother. I have a vague hope that the things she once said, my mother loves me, and it's because my mother didn't see it. It would be fine if my mother saw it, are all dead. Betty looked at her mother and continued to use her chopsticks. Her eyes were calm, silent, and tacitly desolate, until I kicked the door open. She turned around slowly. Maria stood up suddenly and asked me in surprise, You? How did you get here? I walked over and pulled Betty up. It's not worth it, I said. She looked up at me, breathing rapidly, and was already unable to speak. She was particularly distressed by headaches and vomiting. She staggered and couldn't even stand up properly. They all gathered around, okay. When the doctor came, I was covered in vegetable soup and my eyes were swollen. The house was a mess, and several relatives were not at ease either, with nosebleeds running down Betty's spine. Mouth full of shrimp. I took off my clothes, afraid that the soup would get on Betty, and then hugged her again. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Don't just look for it. Lend me a hand. Her mother immediately exploded. What do you know? What do you know? Do you know what Yun lived through those years? When Betty was enjoying herself by drinking milk, Yun was picking up dog shit in the countryside to eat. When Betty was playing the piano, Yun was picking up bottles. She enjoyed herself for more than 10 years. But Yun lost her mother when she was less than 1 year old. She suffered so much. Is it wrong that she just wants some fairness? None of her business. I sneered. You are the one who caused your green tea daughter to be miserable. You are the one who wanted to find a bad person. It has nothing to do with Betty or Betty's father. You still have the nerve to be named Bay. What right does Maria have to be named? Carrie. No one on the field spoke. Maria finally noticed something was wrong and hurriedly opened the live broadcast room. When she saw the trending search, her sneer turned into shock and she burst into tears. Mom, they did this on purpose. How can I face people? Betty's mother screamed with all her might. You are going to destroy my daughter. I will fight you. I turned around and ran behind the policeman. Police officer, save me. When Betty woke up and received an 4-drip, she unexpectedly got an account with hundreds of thousands of followers. And countless emojis of my dark history. Just grab it series. Hemorrhoidectomy series. When fire is at peace and the sun shines on the mouth, the wood will cut by itself. Then give me half. I don't want it. She handed me the account book. You deserve this. You must take it. I felt a little lost. Then I'm right. Maybe the account date won't be right. Maybe you can wait until she gets better. The police came to ask Betty about the details and why she broke into a private house. Betty said with a hoarse voice, he didn't go to rob. We know each other. You know him? Then what is your relationship? The young policeman said with a serious expression, he broke into a private residence without any reason. He is suspected of provoking trouble. In serious cases, he must be detained. The policeman coughed and glanced at me with a smile. Oh, I see. It seems to be a family dispute. My face suddenly became hotter than when the hot soup was poured on me that day. When a student passed the college entrance exam, the school would send out a good news report as usual. Betty's guardian, her mother, got the news. She couldn't get through to Betty, so she called me instead. Really? Really? Betty got first place in the school? Her grades are so good. Didn't her sister say she cheated in the high school entrance exam? She failed the high school entrance exam because your shameless green tea daughter put laxatives in her cup. Oh, didn't she tell you that? She got into a key school like that. How could she fail? Her mother was stunned for a moment and said, the school asked me to go back and share my educational experience and asked me to bring her along. Why don't you help me? I laughed out loud. Have some shame, big sister. When Betty was a freshman, Maria missed classes so much and failed so many courses that she couldn't continue studying and insisted on going abroad for exchange studies. Her mother came to me again shamelessly, wanting to find Betty to prepare to sell the house. This house was bought by Betty's father and was registered in Betty's name. Over the years, the Bay family's inheritance has been spent by the two of them, and there is not much money left. I asked Betty, and she agreed after thinking about it, then found a lawyer and signed a power of attorney. Completely cut off their last connection. I told this to Betty, humming that Maria was going to get screwed. She pulled little Shell's face, and the more she pulled, the bigger it got. You are so childish. You ate there for 3 hours just to listen to gossip. To be honest, I thought she was very powerful. She said, bring a can of food. Little Shell has been very good today. Give him a snack. Didn't you say you wanted to make it lose weight? Life is short, celebrate now. 3 months later, the second generation got married, and I heard that the woman was pregnant before marriage. When my dad received the invitation, I thought the bride was Maria, so I prepared a nice gift in advance. When I got there, I found out that the bride was not her. The second generation may be stupid, but the first generation is no less capable than me. In addition to what I gave them, the second generation also investigated on their own. Maria came to the wedding scene and held her belly. We can get married if we are pregnant. I also have Ah Chow's child. I have the appearance of a boy. You have an eldest son and a daughter. Don't you want a son? The second-generation sister-in-law looked unhappy. Maria still refused to give in. At this time, his mother came out. She stood there and raised her hand. The secretary quickly took out a stack of documents that I had carefully prepared and threw it at Maria with a bang. With both pictures and text, there was information about her bullying classmates in middle school and surveillance photos of her having an affair with a gangster. In high school, she forced 2 girls to drop out. With her fake degree from studying abroad, she couldn't get into any school with her grades. The so-called studying abroad means going out for fun and traveling by car. Her so-called second-generation landlady's identity was just that of a tenant. She rented a house in the most luxurious community and then pretended to be the owner to socialize everywhere. With each passing moment, Maria's expression became more and more unsightly. The second generation quickly turned around and said, "Brother, my mother is just a metaphor. You said at the beginning that I was going to destroy your daughter. Fortunately, I have fulfilled my mission and done my best to help." There has been no news from Maria for a long time. However, Betty's mother soon got the news. Maria had taken all her money. The video of her jumping in the community has become a hot search again. In the video, she called Maria an ungrateful person, saying that she had always protected her and favored her. Her stepfather became ill. He said that he was covering up for her because of her. She went to her stepfather's hospital. It was she who complained earnestly about the caregiver, and she turned a blind eye. She only wanted to compensate her daughter. So she asked Maria, "Isn't that enough?" Maria said it was not enough. She still needed to pay back the online loan of 300 yuan. Steal her mother's living expenses for this month. "Mom, don't you love me the most? I just want to start a new business in a new place. Betty can hook a rich man. So can I. I was just careless this time. I will definitely succeed next time. This is my medicine money." The neighborhood is as lively as if it were Chinese New Year. Everyone was taking videos, but no one was willing to call the police. The houses Betty's mother rented were getting cheaper and cheaper, but she still couldn't make ends meet. She has never worked in all these years, and she finds cleaning work too tiring. She sued Betty for breach of her maintenance obligations. But Betty had no source of income. She submitted evidence that she was already studying and was planning to go on to graduate school and a doctorate in the future. Roughly speaking, it's been about 10 years. Betty's mother couldn't bear it. She ran to Betty's school to make trouble. She started calling Betty by her nickname again. Ever since Maria came, she has been calling Betty by her full name and never by her nickname again. "Baby, you are the only one I have." She wiped her tears and cried downstairs of Betty's dormitory. "Cry with every student who passes by. You are all I have left. Maria has changed. I am at a loss. Are you going to watch me die in your school?" She kept talking about how miserable she was now. Just as they were talking excitedly, a basin of water was poured down from the second floor. "Oops, ma'am, I'm sorry I splashed the wrong thing." A girl apologized. "I thought there was a person down there." When they were rich, they called people shameless things. Now that they have no money, they are called dear babes. People who are shameless live longer, don't you think? The discussion with the microphone was very loud. "Really? Are you saying this to get sympathy? Whoever is suffering is right. Isn't what you learn the most unique in the world?" "Nonsense, my math skills don't deserve a place." Did my surveyor speak? "The threshold for our school is getting lower and lower now. Can everyone get in? Come in. It's time to file a complaint with the security department." Then Betty walked out. Her mother's eyes lit up. The scene was silent. She walked towards her mother, passed by, without stopping for a moment, and strode past. Not even a glance. The onlookers around let out a long sigh. No saint. Cool. Her mother obviously didn't understand why Betty became like this. She chased after him cautiously, looking pitiful, just like the daughter she once was. Betty used to be constantly paralyzed and fantasizing. In her fantasy, her mother loved her forever, but in reality, she had been abandoned long ago. In her fantasy, everyone likes her, and she has many good friends. She tries hard to greet everyone and chat with them. But in reality, she is always bullied and ridiculed. Now, she has shattered all her fantasies. "Betty, are you sick? Can I call the hospital?" The fourth hospital is a mental hospital. Family members have such compulsory rights. The bullet that Betty's mother had used to threaten and scold her countless times finally hit her right in the middle of her eyes many years later. Betty's mother froze in place. The rain was falling lightly and getting heavier. I stood there holding an umbrella and watched Betty approaching little by little. The umbrella was repaired many years ago. The shadow that Betty used to chase her mother gradually became blurred. When Betty's mother saw the umbrella, she suddenly shuddered. "It's that umbrella." It was the umbrella that was chased out in the rain even after being beaten. It is the child's sincere, pure, and unreserved emotion. She looked at Betty, stunned, quiet, silent. Tears suddenly welled up in her eyes. Suddenly it came out. I really shed tears. "Baby, Mom. Mom is so confused." She stepped forward. Betty didn't look back once. Some things cannot be repaired, and the scars of tearing will always leave malice. The wound has healed, but the pain should not be forgotten. The bowl of water that was not held level has been spilled. It's impossible to recover what has been spilled. Extra. A long time later, when Maria came back to ask Betty's mother for money for the 5th time, her mother finally couldn't bear it anymore. She called 4 hospitals. Maria was actually sent to a mental hospital. When she was discharged from the hospital due to lack of money, a furious Maria did the same thing and sent her mother in as well. Maria had no money and couldn't bear the hardship of working, so she came up with a good idea. She simply started a live broadcast. Black and red are also red. She specifically broadcast her past bad deeds during her live broadcast. Although many people scolded her, the traffic was still quite good. As a result, the live broadcast room was closed after a few days. She almost disappeared again. The last time I heard from her was when Maria called me and Betty answered the phone. Maria lost a lot of money gambling in her attempt to turn her life around. "Lend me 300,000 and I will definitely turn things around." 30,000, 3,000, 300 is fine. Consider that I am your matchmaker. Without me, how could you have met Betty? How could you have made her fall in love with you? It's all my credit. "No, I've liked him for a long time," Betty said and hung up the phone. I turned my head suddenly. "What?" "Nothing." I lied to her. "No, I want to hear your lie again." I put my hands on the sofa and pushed away the little shell's dog face that was trying to squeeze in. "You are here. Should we talk about it here? Or should we go upstairs and talk it over slowly?" The warm sun is like frost, casting layers of light and shadows from under the curtains. Her eyes were like lights, and her smile was bright and beautiful. At that moment, the dark room was lit up with fluorescent light.